My next guest is Mark Klewpatinond. He is with ExxonMobil, and he is the global leader of the hydrogen initiative at ExxonMobil, correct?
That's right, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you got into hydrogen and why you got into hydrogen.
So I've been with ExxonMobil for 15 years now, and through various roles in manufacturing and commercial, and always touched on hydrogen. You know, hydrogen is a big part of a lot of the chemical processes and refining process that we have within.
What is your background? Engineering?
I'm actually a PhD biochemist, so really very different to what we would normally have in ExxonMobil.
I'll treat you differently now. Okay.
But I've been through the rigor. I mean, I've run a butyl rubber plant back in the UK. But really, when we look at when we started the low carbon solutions business, we're pulling in all the relevant skills, pulling on everything that we have within ExxonMobil to really go after what we think needs to be solved and the capabilities that need to get built. And when I look at the role that I'm in as the global business manager for hydrogen, I mean, I'm pulling on every single role that I've been through within ExxonMobil, which is fantastic. I mean, there's very few roles that enable you to do that.
So I wrote an article several months ago, and I think it was for this is a shill. PST, Power Systems Technology, and we did this issue, Green Energy. And the article was hydrogen, hype or hope. Is it hype or hope? Because a company like ExxonMobil wouldn't be in it if it was all hype.
Right. So I think today it's a bit of both, to be honest. I think there is a lot of hype, rightly so. When you start a new market is developing, there are a lot of people very interested in it. How can they go about innovating, making money in that? Obviously, supercharged by policy with Inflation Reduction Act in recent months. But actually, I think it's more of the hope, right? And this is why ExxonMobil are in here, because we do believe that it is a solution for those deep decarbonization, decarbonization that's required of those hard to electrify, those hard to decarbonize sectors. Things like industrial heat in chemical manufacturing. Steel production is another one. We talk about direct reduction of iron as being a way to reduce the emissions associated with steel manufacturing. And obviously people think about trucking, so heavy duty, long distance trucking is another one that we see hydrogen's potential.
So we see the potential in a lot of areas. For instance, steel is one we focus on, but wherever they produce high heat, paper, glass manufacturing, plastics manufacturing, there's so many areas that heat is what's needed to make the product. So and they all use some form of carbon to create it, or electricity that is powered by carbon. I think it's fascinating that a company, ExxonMobil, that we would all say is, well, why would you invest in the decarbonization when ExxonMobil is in the carbonization business? Talk a little bit about that, because it seems like an oxymoron, but it's not. It's not.
And if you look at the capabilities that are required to really build out a hydrogen business, there's a lot of collaboration obviously required across the different parts of the value chain. I think we're in a very advantaged position of being able to see quite a lot, or most of, or if not all of, that value chain. If you think about the primary energy source to then producing the hydrogen, to transporting, storing that hydrogen, and using that hydrogen, we play all along that value chain. And if you look at our traditional businesses, we have the upstream business, our refining and fuels business, and our chemicals businesses. We are talking to all the users of the potential future market for hydrogen. And so we're able to glean I would say unique insights and be able to piece that all together. But collaborating with customers, with the engineering companies, with others, across the broad industry in order to make this happen.
Interestingly enough, you've used the word twice now, collaboration, because in this conversation, one of the things I want to go to is the need for collaboration. There's a lot of money coming in, and if you go for a money grab with an isolated solution, you're going to lose.
Right.
We've got a lot of people doing a lot of collaborative things, and it appears that some of the money coming in, whether that's CapEx coming in from investment or government money coming in, I think the smart money is going to projects that are collaborative in nature, right?
Yeah, I think where we always start is who's the customer, right?
Okay.
And you know, what is the
what a concept?
Yeah,
who's the customer? Oh.
I mean, through my background, I've always been told, like, we only have really one revenue stream, right? And then it's your customer. So you start with the customer. Who's willing to pay for this? What's the mechanism to get paid? Obviously in ExxonMobil we have a lot of ideas and a lot of good ideas and projects. We have to compete for that capital and the resources. So it has to be something that we see is valuable to go after. And so that collaborative nature is required to ensure that you have that offtake, you have that confidence to be able to go forward with the project and take that final investment decision.
Yeah, that's excellent. Give me an example of hope. Okay, give me an example of where you see a project that ExxonMobil's working on or that you're working on within the hydrogen economy that you can say, hey, this is where hope comes from, because we see this, it's either commercialized now or close to commercialization, but can have some scale that changes everything.
And that's a great question. I mean, and that's, with our foundational project in Baytown, Texas, so not very far from here, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to lead the way and show with the kind of the scale that we can do, the integration benefits that we bring as well, that we can get started with this. We can show a path forward that is practical, that is real.
Yeah.
And being at our Baytown site with our existing chemical refining complex there as well as an anchor tenant for that demand,
right,
helps to develop then that local hydrogen economy and beyond. Right? If you look at deals that we've signed as well as far afield as South Korea in order to transport that hydrogen energy from the Gulf Coast.
So you're located at the Baytown facility here in Texas?
I'm located at our main campus in Houston, just in Spring, just an hour north of here.
Yeah, they keep the doctors, the PhDs there. And they put the worker scrubs down in Baytown. So if you think about ammonia, hydrogen, wind, solar, all of the things that are happening kind of on the periphery of decarbonization, right? I'm not saying pick a winner, but if I were to invest in one of those technologies, where would I invest?
I mean, it depends on your risk appetite.
I have no risk appetite, and it's not about risk and return as much as it is I want to change the world.
So I think it's all of the above, right? Yeah. And this is why, as we consistently say, is we need all of the above. Even if you look at the energy, I wouldn't say energy transition, but the energy evolution over the last 300 plus years or the time of man we've always gone through that evolution of different energy sources. Even today, we're pulling on coal, oil, gas, still using wood and biomass in places as well, and that's coming back for obvious reasons. Nuclear is another one. The energy system is so large. I think a lot of people don't comprehend just how big it is and why we need all of those solutions. And there's different amounts of affordability as well. When you think about the world is developing, there are different stages. You look at China, you look at now India coming up, Southeast Asia, Latin America. They're growing their middle class. They want the same lifestyles that we in the West, and Northeast Asia have been able to enjoy over the last few decades, 100 years, and so they need energy to be affordable, as well as as we go into once you get there, it's actually to be able to make that lower carbon as well. And in Europe it's even more challenged because they're even talking about energy security is a big topic there too.
That was my last question for you, is the difference. You see a global picture because you're a global lead. When you think of North America, Latin America, and all, and you think of Europe right now, because of the war in the Ukraine, because of that energy security need right now, are they all working in the same pace, the same way, or is one? Where do you see a difference in the application of where we're going?
I mean, so when we look at the moving towards cleaner fuels, it has to be driven by society. Society has to want it, and there's different governments around the world. Obviously, they're at different places of implementing policy. to support this. Obviously, in Europe, is a little bit, they're arguably more immediate because of the situation that's happening, and there's also a societal resolve. I would add that they want to move to greener fuels, but they need the policy in order to enable that, and for society to be able to afford what their ambition is.
Okay. And in the U.S., North America, Canada, it's more, what would the word be, hopeful, that we know we need to do it, but are we really as committed as maybe Europe is?
So one thing that's great about the Inflation Reduction Act in the US and the policies in Canada as well around the investment tax credits there is that that really is broad-based. Anybody can go after them, and encourages business to go and figure it out, let the market work. It's setting an incentive to go after it, but it's not dictating how you do it. And so there is open to the innovation that happens and the collaboration that happens within the market to go and deliver those kind of solutions that customers want and they're able to afford.
Excellent. So Dr. Marks, I can call you that now.
Thank you so much.
It's been brilliant.
Yeah, thank you very much.